Speaker Guy, my channel about testing, repairing, and just simply looking inside of audio equipment, usually speakers. Today the speakers that we have are you can clearly see the Paradigm speakers hooked up to the receiver. These are Paradigm Atom V2 speakers. Let's see. Yeah, they're 5 1/4 inch bookshelf speakers. They're two ways. They're quite a nice speaker. As you can clearly see, they're the Atom V2s, and the serial number is 240369. That's very easy to remember. The other one is, so that one's the 69. This one was the 70. If I believe it was the 70. So I have the 69 and the 70, but that doesn't really, it's a little bit off topic. What we're focusing on here is, these are new speakers that I just got for rear surrounds for the home theater system in my bedroom. I'm using the larger Titan V2s up front, and, well, these have a little bit of a problem, and I'm going to show the problem to you with a little audio test. And there's just going to be a loop of some stuff, some audio stuff. At a quiet volume, they sound okay. Once you turn them up past a certain point, though, some stuff starts to happen. You probably can't hear it, but there is some distortion. I am going to go between the two speakers just to show you. They each have their slightly own issue, but I'm just going to show you the issue on both of them. Starting with the left speaker. As you can clearly see, we only have a left speaker going. It seems to sound good. Well, if I turn the bass up, there's some slightly distortion at the high volumes. On the other one, this is even more present. This is without the bass turned up. And that one, as you can clearly see, had more of a rattle. The left speaker had more of a buzz, although it wasn't as extreme as the rattle on the right speaker. Now, by the way, I'm going to disassemble these and show you the problem that these have. So let's get to that. Now, the thing with these Paradigms is, and I think I've mentioned this before, I've done a very similar repair on a set of Titan V2s, that you have to know how to take them apart, and that's why I have these videos, because the front grille is not removable. It's part of the actual front of the wood box. Although before we're going to do anything like this, we're going to turn this off and disconnect the speaker wire. And I'm doing this one first because it is the worst one. You have to take off the screws on the back to get at the actual components because you can't get at them from the front. So what we have to do is, they're Phillips number 2 size screws. And it's just as simple as that on all the 8 identical screws around the back panel. Now, after removing those screws, this may take some light prying the first time, but we're gonna just take off the back. We're gonna unplug these wires. Always remember the yellow is plus, black one is minus. Now, we've got this fiberglass here. You usually want to use gloves when handling this stuff, but I'm actually just using a screwdriver I'm putting it on top of the plastic rear panel because I don't want to put it on top of the carpet. This is fiberglass, so always use the precautions you use when working with insulation. And I'm gonna find something to prop this up so I can show you the inside. Got the perfect thing right here. So what we do now is we unplug these two connections on the woofer. It's actually a mid-woofer. I should really be using the right terms for this. Then there are 4 screws on the side. And remember, with this connection, the red is the plus and the black is the negative. These screws are slightly shorter, so I like to put them in a different spot. And always remember, I'm not doing this, so, but please use a tray to hold your screws so they don't go missing. Especially if you're working on a table, you can drop your screws. I'm not working on a table, I'm just working on the carpet, so, you know, I have to look. Oh, my screw already came out. It got stuck to the magnet. And then finally the last one, I'm going to hold the woofer in place while I do this. Because, and the reason why I'm doing that is because I don't want it to just fall out and break something. Although, what there is to be broken is pretty much already broken. It's not too bad, but as you can clearly see, it doesn't look bad at first glance. Now, as you can clearly see, the most common place of failure on one of these is around this edge right here. Around this sort of edge. It usually deteriorates on that foam part, and then what happens is you pretty much get that rattle. This one has a very interesting point of failure, and that's around this edge. You can clearly see it's totally separated there. Not quite around the entire speaker, so this is not the worst case scenario. But you can clearly see it separated around this edge where I'm touching. Sort of where it meets the metal frame. Let's look at the other one. What's our problem here? As you can clearly see, nothing, because we got insulation in the way. I somehow forgot about that. And never forget to unplug the wires. Okay, so this one's not nearly as bad. It's just starting to tear at that seam in a few places, including right about there. Just tearing a little bit. Over here, it's tearing in a different spot. But the real problem, what's causing the rattle, is it's lifting up from the cone. As you can clearly see, that one little small spot back there, it's lifting up from the cone. That's causing a rattle on this one. It's more of a buzz. It's a rattle on the other one, but on this one it's more of a buzz. But this is also the cause of the surround, the edge, the foam deteriorating over time, and usually called foam rot. That's exactly what caused it to lift up on the back there. It's because the foam is not strong enough, not strong enough of a material anymore to stick to the glue. It's falling apart, but since it's falling apart, it's falling off the glue, but it's leaving some of the foam behind on the glue. So that's how you know you've got foam rot as an issue. So, we'll be back when we're up and repairing the speaker. So, that's how you look for foam rot on your speakers. And by the way, on these paradigms, I know you can't see it, can you? But they have a date code. This woofer is from a Paradigm Atom. It's from the 355th day of 1999. That means on the 21st, which is actually when these surrounds arrive, this speaker will be turning 20, which is quite a coincidence. So the first step in this is to just peel off all the old surround. You're not going to be saving this, and and as you can clearly see, it's very fragile. That's the thing about foam rot, and this is coming off very easily. Usually comes off in pieces, but in my case it isn't for some reason, because it's fragile, again, around this seam and around where it's glued. As you can clearly see, it just comes apart. It's no good. Now what we do is, I have to get a tool to do this, and I'm going to show you what we do. What we do is, this tool was actually meant for prying off the glass covers on glass screens on a phone. Just get under the surround, around the frame. You can clearly see the glue coming off. That's what we want. And then just peel that with your hand. Now we've got that started. And then just go around the speaker, getting that surround off. And yes, I've done this with the bigger version, so I know how hard this is. This glue is pretty hard to get off because, as you can clearly see, whoever designed the speaker put ridges on the frame to make it a little bit harder. But if you do this right, it should work. Okay, so now what we do is lightly scrape the outer edge of the cone to get the foam debris off. You can even, this won't take long, and you don't necessarily have to remove all the glue debris this time on the Paradigm. On other speakers, you might be able to remove the glue debris, but on the Paradigms, you're definitely not going to be able to do that. This step is actually better done with your finger because it rubs off. It's so much easier this way than doing it with the tool. This particular speaker, I'm noticing the joint down there is coming loose too, because the glue got dry, and when I pushed the cone in a certain way, it sort of came loose off there, but that's no big deal. I can just put new glue on that. So I'm going to put the glue around the frame and around the cone, and then I'm going to just drop the surround on, since this cone is straight in the middle. That should work fine. And one more thing, go easy on the glue. You don't have to put a lot on there. Just literally enough so that you can see it's going on. Just like that. And that was the difference between the new and the old. This one's stiff, this one's just weak. I also brushed some glue onto this inner part to strengthen it with this brush that came with the kit, just because that part was also getting weak. Wanted to save it before it got too far gone, and I had to totally remove the cone and center it and everything, because that would have been a disaster if I had to do that. Okay, so I'm done with the second speaker. In my opinion, it actually looks nicer than the first one, because trial and error is always something that happens when you do these projects. But they both look good, and you're not going to see any of that glue. You know why? These go behind, if you remember, non-removable grills, so I'm not really too disappointed about that. So I think these are going to work really well. Better than they used to. And I've also opened the window where I'm working, and the reason for that is just because the glue that they use for these speakers does not smell the best, so I'm taking care of that as well. So it's been a day since I did the repair. Now these speakers are working absolutely incredibly. With the bass boost. No distortion to be heard. These things are great. I'm using these for the foreseeable future for my rear surrounds. So this repair really does help the speakers work. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and see you next time.